Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and it's Debsy, and place to be, it's Debsy. Bloop, bloop, that's me. Boop, Debsy. Hey guys, and like I said, welcome back to my channel. Happy Saturday. I hope everybody is having a great day. I am having a much better day. Thank you to everybody who sent well wishes to me and Dolly yesterday. It was a tough day. I typically take the day off and go out and we take flowers out to my father at the mausoleum, but I couldn't get the day off. So I thank you. I thank everybody. I just spent the rest of the day with my mom, the night with my mom. And so yes, thank you very much. So I'm back today. I had plenty to do today. But I'm here right now. I have my water. I got a new top. This is from QVC look at the little frill. From Denim & Company, and I think it is beautiful. So I am here. We're going to talk about the Dance Moms reunion. It aired this past Wednesday on Lifetime. You can still see it on the Lifetime app. I was so excited about this because listen, I will admit it was a guilty pleasure. I watched most of the seasons. Did I watch all of the seasons? I did not, because I don't know, I feel like when they moved out to Hollywood, it kind of jumped the shark a little bit. The best years were when they were in Pittsburgh, when they were in, it wasn't right in Pittsburgh, it was on Salzburg Road, it was in Penn Hills. I don't know if it's considered Penn Hills or if it's considered Plum. It might be considered Penn Hills. But if you didn't know, the studio was sold, everything was auctioned off, and it was supposed to be a daycare, and it's now it was bought by the bus company who services Penn Hills and Plum schools, I think, which is crazy because considering how terrible Abby Lee treated those bus drivers when they were going away on competitions, they got the final laugh. So it was the Dance Moms reunion. Everybody was there except for Maddie, Mackenzie, and Nia. I'm going to tell you straight off, I'm not going to talk about every single thing and go through every single thing that was said. However, I'm going to cover some things that caught my attention that made me kind of either clap or cry or be pissy. Okay, so right off the bat, the question was about the three missing OGs. It was Maddie, Mackenzie, Nia. I know for a fact I had seen Nia. Nia was always one of my favorites, Nia and Holly. But Nia had come out onto TikTok and she said, I'm going to talk about it. She said, listen, I didn't want to go. Point blank. I just didn't want to go. Kudos to you, Nia. As somebody who doesn't want to go out and do a lot of things, you have to kind of make up an excuse. She just said she didn't want to do it. That's perfectly fine. So they weren't there. They called the OGs, which was, they say that it's Paige, Brooke, Chloe, and Kendall. In my mind, Kendall is not truly an OG because she wasn't there from the start. That's in my mind. Others may feel differently about it because she was there through every season except for the first season. For me, she wasn't. I'm just saying. So they bring them out. They ask them about, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the three missing dancers. And Paige said it best. Paige had said, they may still be processing this. She's saying, everybody processes this differently. I mean, some people might not want to talk about it because it triggers them. Just because Maddie was a favorite, that doesn't necessarily mean that there wasn't trauma. I mean, there was a lot of pressure placed on her. Plus, she had this friendship with Chloe that was torn apart by this rivalry that was built up by Abby and the producers and her mom. So the Paige nailed it perfectly. She was just like, listen, Some people may still be processing it, and they process it differently. Well, backstage, of course, JoJo had to throw in her 2 cents of like, well, it's where they came from, and they want to act like it didn't happen to them, and they want to shove it down the toilet and act like they weren't a part of it. And even Kendall out on the stage was like, well, they were part of it, but they want to talk about it, but they don't want to be here. Listen, I'm going to defer to Paige. And even Kalani was kind of on the side of kind of railing against them because they weren't there. No, Kendall and JoJo getting all defensive. That is for them to decide. If they don't want to be there and they feel like it might re-traumatize them, then they don't want to be there. Just let it go. And when I get into this whole reunion, I'm going to tell you, I got a lot of information from Chloe and Brooke and Paige. However, I could have done without JoJo being there. Because JoJo just interrupted everybody. Like when they're talking to who was it? Their producers were talking to either Paige or Brooke, and it was about when they were showing Abby having cancer, and they asked Kendall or they asked Paige, and Paige went to talk about it, and then JoJo had to jump in, and then they were asking Kendall about something, and she had to jump in. The producers had to actually be like, "Can you let Kendall answer?" That bitch, I'm gonna tell you what. And I don't know why Brooke was like, "I'm nervous about seeing JoJo. I'm kind of scared and nervous about seeing JoJo because of some beef on the internet." Why? Who the fuck's JoJo? Are you kidding me? Don't be nervous. You got it. And the other women there, the other women there, because they're women now, the other women there, they would have stood up for you. There's nothing to be nervous about with her. So when they talked about the missing dancers, but the producer also brought up the fact that there was another reunion that was off camera of the OGs at Maddie's, and it was a surprise birthday party. It was for Paige, and it was everybody except for Kalani and JoJo. So everybody else didn't. When I say everybody else, I mean Chloe, Paige, Brooke. They didn't think anything was odd about it. Kendall was like, it was kind of a coincidence that it happened to be like the night before. Honestly, I just think it was the night before because everybody was out on the West Coast. Everybody was in LA. It was Brooke's, and they thought, let's just celebrate Paige's birthday. That's all. I didn't read anything into it. And then backstage, the mothers have to start, especially Kira, Kalani's mother, had to be like, well, she, Melissa set that up to be this way so that, and she invited who she wanted to invite so that she could make sure nobody talked about anything that they didn't want them to talk about at the televised reunion. And that's why they did. And then Christy calls in and is like, that's exactly why. And Kalani had pushed that narrative too and was like pushing that narrative. Christy calls in and is like, that's exactly what happened. Melissa threw down a fire blanket to put out any fires that might pop up today. And I'm sorry, but when Christy, I believe it was Christy that had said, well, JoJo, they don't want you there because they're afraid of what you'll do to her daughters because you're more talented and more successful. Listen, the reason why they probably didn't want her is because she's annoying as fuck. That's probably why they didn't want her there. I wouldn't. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't even want her there. So no, I don't buy that. And here's another thing. Kira was sure enough talking a lot of shit on Melissa, but remember back in the day when Melissa needed somebody to watch Kalani, who did she have watch her? If you said Melissa, you're correct. Anytime she needed somebody to watch Kalani, she was right there. Melissa was right there helping her. So I don't know. I thought that was shitty. And here's another thing. They were really jumping all over. I felt like they were jumping all over Kelly. I feel like, and I felt bad. I felt really bad for Kelly because they were talking about when Paige and Brooke left. And Kelly had said she has felt guilty every day for the last 10 years because she pulled them out and then they just never danced again. She even said that like the show itself changed her so much and she feels like it led to her divorce. And she felt so bad and she was crying. It really broke my heart a little bit. And her daughters, God, she must have done something right because I'm going to tell you what, Paige and Brooke grew up to be such amazing, just kind, well-mannered, just beautiful, accomplished, confident, generous, kind young women. She did a fantastic job. I mean, they're very well spoken. They're very intelligent. They have their lives. And they were both like, listen, we don't blame you for a second. Paige was even like, listen, if it was me, I probably would have done worse to her. So, and they both said, listen, we know that you did what you did to protect us. I'm going to tell you what, when they left, it was not a great way to leave. I mean, that was in a blaze of like screaming, yelling, slapping. I mean, it wasn't a great show to put on. It was not. However, when you look back and you see how she treated these kids, I mean, I believe that Kelly had sued her because of the emotional distress that Paige was put through. I mean, this was every day. I mean, it was ridiculously long hours of practicing and taping, and then she was pitting the girls against each other, and her and the producers stirring up the drama. I'm going to tell you, the best thing that she could have done was gotten them out of there because then they were able to go and live their lives and do things that normal kids would do. Like go to the movies with their friends, go to football games, go to dances, do things that normal kids, normal teenagers would do and not be subject to all this like emotional, psychological warfare. It's just, it broke my heart to see Kelly like that. But I hated seeing them gang up on her. So to me, it felt like they were ganging up on her. And I wish that Christy would have been there to kind of be a force, to join forces with her and go up against these women. These women being like Kira and Jesslyn. Although I will say, there was the one moment when, it was a little bit later on, and I caught this. I don't know if anybody else did, but Kelly had said, I wonder what it would have been like if I would have followed Melissa instead of Christy. Something like that. And I thought, oh, that's weird. That's kind of odd. So speaking of Brooke and Paige, Brooke was going to ask Kalani, when you came onto the show, did you know you were replacing us or you were replacing someone? There was a little bit of a pause, which the pause could have very well be edited in by the producers. She said, there was no replacement. I was not brought on to replace you. And the girls on the stage were like, I understand. We never thought it was. Backstage, the mothers were talking, and they were saying that Maddie and Mackenzie were brought onto the set of AUDC, Abby's Ultimate Dance Competition, which Kalani was a contestant on. And Abby brought Maddie over to Kalani and said, this is going to be your new duet partner. And they said Melissa knew that. So, listen. And Jill was acting like, too, like she was like, what? When on one of the episodes, Jill did talk about how she knew that they were going on the show. So, she knew. But I don't know. I'm having a little bit of difficulty, maybe 100% believing that Kalani didn't know that they were going to bring her on the show to duet. I'm not saying that she knew that they were that she was gonna replace somebody, but she had to have known something was up. I mean, she had said on a podcast that Abby had pushed for her to win AUDC, and then she pushed for her to be on the show. The thing I think that was holding them back from being on the show, her being on the show on Dance Moms, is that apparently the producers were not fans of Kira. She had a mole on her face that they needed her to get removed, and they didn't think that based on her interaction on AUDC that she would be able to bring the drama, that she would be interesting to watch. So that's a little background that I had heard, not on the reunion. Another sad thing to hear. Listen, I loved Chloe, and this right here shows how freaking toxic this whole situation was. It took her until last year. Up until last year, she would hear all these things that Abby would say about her in her head, and she would play them over on a daily basis. And that led her to not have self-confidence and to think that she wasn't enough and she was never good enough. It took her until last year when she finally was like, she's not going to have control over me anymore. I'm going to tell myself what to think about myself, not her. I was like, that's the reason why all the girls were coming out and talking about the problems that they had. And then here comes JoJo. They talked to JoJo, and JoJo's like, this might be a controversial opinion that I have, but Abby was right. I was a brat and I was a beat off. I don't know what a beat off is, but she was like, I interrupted two adults talking. She was right to yell at me. And this showed me that this is the normal in Hollywood. It might not be right, but this is the normal in Hollywood. And it made me tougher. And it made me able to handle myself in Hollywood. And it taught me, listen, I'm going to tell you what it taught you. It taught you how to treat people who are on a reality show that you're the head of. It taught you how to treat them terrible. From what I understand, she treated the kids that were contestants on her dance competition show the same way that Abby treated her. And her mother learned too. And it wasn't her mother. In the back room, the mothers were talking, and Jill was like, "You came on." She came on to the show. JoJo came on the show a little entitled. Kira was like, "I don't see that. I didn't see that." I don't know. Did I feel like she might have, but she thought she was a little entitled? Yeah, maybe. And then Jessalyn was like, we didn't come on to the show to be famous. But from what I understand, I had seen something on the internet, on Facebook, on YouTube, where somebody had said Jessalyn had gotten JoJo into dance classes and pageants and that at like the age of 2. And she had always wanted fame. So here you go. Here's my daughter. Let's see how famous we can get. Do I believe that she said, when she said, we didn't go on there to be famous? Bullshit. Yes, she did. Just like Jill said. She watched the other seasons, she learned, and she got on. That was her chance to become a star. Want more proof? Listen, later on, when they were talking about when JoJo left, JoJo had said that she had an offer from Nickelodeon. She didn't know what to do. So the decision was made to leave. And Jesslyn said, when they said, who made that decision, JoJo or you? And she said, ultimately, I made the decision. Correct. Because here's the thing. She's now thinking, I've gone as far as I can on this show. I don't want her to do this ballet number. So bigger and better things that are going to get her more fame. Let's go to Nickelodeon. Yeah, do that. That's a great place for kids. A great place. Dan Schneider approved. So, yeah. Did I buy that? No, I didn't. Okay. Here's another thing. When they were talking about Abby getting the cancer diagnosis and they showed it, listen, she was a monster to those girls. However, when they showed that the clips of her, that was tough. And the thing that broke my heart was honestly seeing Brooke's reaction and seeing Kelly's reaction. That broke my heart. That gutted me, because listen, she was terrible to them, but then in those instances, you maybe remember like the good times. She had been dancing with her since she was 2. And Kelly had said, they asked her, if she apologized to you, would you accept? Would you be friends? And she had said yes, she would accept, and she would be friends with her, because at the end of the day, cancer is So that made me, that right there made me, that was heartbreaking. But see, and right as Brooke was describing this, that's when JoJo had to step in. And like, I want to just reach through the screen and be like, can you shut up? Can you let them explain how they felt? Because sure, you didn't feel like you had a different experience. She wasn't there the whole time. Did she have some horrific things said to her? Was she treated terribly? She was. But everybody processes an experience different, and everybody's experiences are different. How Brooke feels is different from how you're going to feel. How Paige or Chloe or Kendall feels is going to be different from how you feel. Let them feel what they feel. It's not the JoJo show. Nobody turned in to see JoJo, okay? I very highly doubt that the large number of people turned in to see fucking JoJo, okay? And it's a damn shame, because looking back, I did enjoy JoJo on the show from time to time. When she was a kid, now she's just fucking annoying. Okay, and another thing with JoJo, they showed a clip of Christy talking on a Zoom call. And somebody said, do you talk to Gianna? And she was like, no, I don't. She's not nice. That's all she said. Then JoJo has to come out and has to be like, make a video on TikTok about how you don't say that, and that was shitty to say, and you just don't say that, and don't say things on the internet that you don't want people to to pass around, because it will be passed around. And then they asked her, do you regret saying this? And she says, no, I try not to regret anything I say. Listen, you should regret some of the things you say. Like when you got on that Howie Mandel podcast and talked about the victims of Colleen Ballinger, and you were like, basically calling them liars. Like, I think she said something like, people can spread lies and and the public will just run with it. Listen, JoJo Siwa, she's a predator protector. Peter Mon taught me that. She's a predator protector, protecting James Charles, protecting Colleen Ballinger. I've got no respect for her, no respect. And didn't who am I thinking? Didn't Chloe come right back? And she was like, listen, she said she's not nice. She didn't say she's not a good person. She said she's not nice. And guess what? She's entitled to her own opinion. Everybody has their own experiences with people. Christy might have had some experiences, or Chloe might have had some experiences with her that showed that she just wasn't a nice person to her. They're allowed their own opinions. JoJo proposing to Kalani, listen, she's just too over the top. Like, she's too fucking over the top. And lastly, when they were talking about like their favorite dances, I'm going to tell you what, my favorite dances that they did were always the dances with like the messages. Like, I'm going to tell you, where have all the children gone? Shit, that dance still haunts me to this day. Where have all the children gone? The best ones, the last text, all great. I mean, the like I said, the best ones were the ones where there was a story. The Rosa Parks one, even though Jill trying to push Kendall as Rosa Parks. And didn't I see this on? I saw somebody on, I think it was on TikTok, has the username Rosa Parks, Kendall's version. I thought it was so funny. Very creative. But when it got to Kalani and they were asking about what her favorite was, hers was this, it wasn't called the suicide hotline. It was the hotline. It was the one where there were 3 girls that were answering the suicide hotline, this hotline. And in dances, Kalani, who was portraying someone who would have been calling in. And it was very triggering because she had not told anybody this, but she has had suicidal ideations, and she has called in to hotlines for help. And that was gutting to watch. That was just gutting to watch. As somebody who's had mental health struggles in my lifetime, that was heartbreaking to see. However, she was very brave to talk about that and to bring it to light that, listen, everybody, mental health issues, they're not just reserved for one type of person or one race or one gender or one age or one socioeconomic demographic. It can happen to anyone. And I was so proud of her for speaking up, but it was heartbreaking. And it was heartbreaking to see her just crying and so. But all in all, I thought, there was a lot of tea. They could have had JoJo not be on it, and that would have been great. So in the comments, let me know if you watched it, what you thought. I really wish at least Nia was there, but I completely understand. Listen, more power to Nia for coming out and being like, I just didn't want to do it. So with that being said, if you watched, let me know in the comments what you thought. If nobody told you yet today, I love you. You're loved, seen, and heard. Please make sure that you put love, kindness, compassion, acceptance, hope, and positivity out there so it comes back at you. Please take care of one another. And number one, please, what am I thinking? Number one, please be aware of your surroundings. And number two, please stay safe. I love you guys. I will see you tomorrow, and love you guys. Bye, guys.